Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel for this Monday morning, afternoon or evening across where we may be at. I hope you're all well, and today I've got an article for you from the Sun newspaper. I know here in the UK it's a massive newspaper and a lot of people don't really trust it, but it's got an article about a teacher who has been struck off after smacking a autistic child in a autism special needs school here in the UK. And as an autistic adult, you know I bring you the latest breaking news. This was uploaded a couple of days ago, and I thought I'd read it, so I'll read through the article and give you my thoughts towards the end. A primary school teacher who slapped a young autistic boy's bare bottom as punishment as he urinated in a sandpit has been struck off. Tess Fatalina Calasan, 43. The incident happened at the Elm Tree Primary Academy, Wednesbury, in the West Midlands on the May 2nd, 2024. She lifted the child from the ball pit, placed him on her lap face down, and smacked him twice on the bare bottom between 1:30 and 2 o'clock. A colleague did ask her, "Lena, what are you doing?" Lena smacked his bottom twice with an open palm hand. 2 days later, she had acknowledged she had done something wrong when she had a meeting with her bosses with a safeguarding referral that had been made. On the 29th of July 2024, she accepted a police caution, which she had claimed that she had tapped him had been misinterpreted as a smack. But the Bernie Whittle, chair of the teaching regulation panel, had found the teacher had delivered 2 smacks within an open hand within short space of time. They had said that Miss Calasan's intention was to publicly chastise him. The findings of misconduct are serious, and the conduct displayed would likely have a negative impact on her status as a teacher, banning her from the profession for at least 2 years. For the Education Secretary, the panel did not consider before they had sufficient evidence that Miss Calasan would not repeat her behaviour. So that's kind of what the Sun newspaper is saying. Now I'm going to read you my thoughts as a autistic woman, and I want to read you first the actual conduct panel's report, part of the report here. I will link it down below with all the articles talking about the story down below in the video description. In the conduct panel report, she denied that her conduct amounted to anything unacceptable professional conduct that may bring the profession or her into disrepute. On the day of the incident, there were 6 other children present. When she realised she had done something wrong and that it was against safeguarding, then she said that she had a meeting. She didn't even think that the child had been hurt. And then when she received the police caution issued the 16th of July 2024, Section 1 of the Children and Young Persons Act 1933, she had a further hearing on October the 25th in 2024. They found she breached the teacher standards by not treating pupils with dignity and respect, not building relationships, having no regard to safeguard pupils' well-being. She had no professional regard for ethos, policies, practice of the academy. She breached the academy's CPI safe intervention policy. It is always unlawful to use force as a punishment. She breached the academy's safe touch policy, that physical contact should always be about meeting the needs of the child, and staff need to think very, very hard before making any form of contact. She has then since been prohibited from teaching indefinitely and cannot teach in any academy, sixth form college or resident youth accommodation or children's home across England. She has a right to appeal to the High Court within 28 days of this decision letter, which was dated the 19th of June. So I'm going to give you my thoughts now as a autistic woman, neurodiverse woman. So what I understand of this is that it happened in a special needs school and her actions were totally inappropriate. It shocks me that it took her 2 days to admit she'd done anything professionally to misconduct or wrong. She knew her actions were completely wrong and inappropriate. You never ever spank a child or smack a child, especially a child that has SEND. The fact that she hit the child twice with an open palm hand, that's just wrong on so many levels. Like, it's a child with special educational needs. Like, what were you thinking? Like, you work in a special school with special needs children. Like, how can you even justify saying that you thought you did nothing wrong? The whole school is a school for the children with challenging behaviour and autism needs. Like, how? Like, I just don't see how you could think that. And then the fact that you would have caused him harm and public embarrassment and public upset in front of the other students by smacking him, the fact you bent him over your knees, like, how is that appropriate? Like, why would you discipline him like that? You could have just said, like, come on, pull up your trousers, you know, come on, let's go and get you sorted in the toilet, like, obviously he'd had an accident by weaning himself, that you could have took him privately and said, hey, let's go, or got one of your colleagues to come with you and take 2 of you to the toilet with him and, clean him up and whatever. But still, you should have still reported that. You should have still said, there's been an incident, the child's wet himself, I picked him up, I made physical contact with him, and therefore you should have followed the safeguarding procedures of the academy that you were working at. Again, you took 2 days to report that, which again, to me, sounds like you are completely guilty, and the fact you had something to hide, you said it's because it was near home time. That's got nothing to do with it. If you make contact with a child with SEND, autism, or any form of disability, it's wrong. Bottom line, period, wrong. You don't smack a child. You just don't smack a child, whether he weed himself, whether he was excreting himself. You just don't do that. The fact that you still clearly need more training in autism or challenging behaviour seems to me you didn't get enough training, and it seems that you didn't have enough backup with the staff. You could have gone to staff and said, hey, I'm struggling with this child, he's wet himself in the ball pit, whatnot, and I need help to know how to deal with him. The fact that this was just clear, straightforward abuse is bottom line. You did not publicly have to chastise him, publicly punish him, shout at him. Imagine how traumatised that child's going to be. It's just wrong on so many levels. And it just proves that people like you shouldn't be in the teaching profession indefinitely. I'm glad that you got an indefinite ban which you can appeal, but you shouldn't be able to even appeal it, to be honest, because you're not going to change. Once you smack one child, you're going to smack another one, and potentially another one. You shouldn't be working with children or adults full stop with disabilities or mental health issues. It's just something that I would be extremely worried about, because as an autistic person, would I trust you working with people like me? No, I wouldn't. Let's be honest, no, I wouldn't. I know you have the right to appeal it from the High Court within 28 days of the judgment, but I'm hoping that your legal team don't let you appeal it. I hope that you take the punishment for what you've done, and that you truly are sorry to the family for hitting their child, and I hope the school are able to still have him there and look after him and upgrade their training, make sure they do more checks on their staff. And it's just a sad case. It didn't need to happen. It shouldn't have happened. It was an error, really bad, serious misconduct error on her part. Obviously she was frightened to report it or whatnot, but it's still not okay. I'm not saying I feel sorry for the woman who did it. No, I don't. But again, there is sometimes in schools you don't get enough help or training or support from your colleagues. But I think, again, she did realise in the end that she did wrong, and the fact she put a minor at risk. And, the other children in that class are now going to be traumatised. They are now witnesses to a child being assaulted. And it's just really sad that a case like this has to happen again. It shows that people with autism are still being smacked or talked down to or abused because teachers think they're not going to get caught, or they think that they're going to get away with it because the child simply doesn't understand it. It's just simply not true. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed hearing this, and I have put a trigger warning at the beginning. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.